Hi, this is Aaron Rhodes, and you're listening to the Shuttlecock podcast. I'm here this week with Ivy Roots. We decided to do a little ASMR intro. How you doing, Ivy?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Oh, that's very good to hear. We've got some hot tea going. Yeah, and we're sponsored by the Vinyl Underground at 7th Heaven, offering new and used vinyl at 76th and Truce in Kansas City, Missouri. Thanks for being on the show today. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I guess a good place to start usually is, where are you originally from? Are you from Kansas City originally?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Kansas City. I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas, Wyandotte County. So, yeah.
Yeah, and where did you end up, like, going to school and everything?
So I graduated from Wyandotte High School, and I attended Kansas City, Kansas Community College.
And so were you studying, like, any type of stuff that plays into your music, or is it all...
So I studied audio engineering for a few semesters. Yeah, and I just kind of wanted to learn more about production and audio, and so...
Has that kind of, like, I'm sure it's been handy, like, in your own work and everything, but do you kind of end up using that knowledge, like, do you end up producing for other people, or, like, getting work outside of your own stuff for that?
Yeah. So, I've produced for a couple of artists that haven't came out yet, and then mostly producing for myself. That was my main thing. Why I wanted to learn is just to use it as a tool to be creative.
So yeah, I guess I was curious how long you have been, like, singing and playing guitar and everything.
So I've been singing my whole life. I've been playing guitar for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay. And do you end up playing, like, because a lot of your music does have, like, well, it isn't just, like, guitar and vocals. You have, like, kind of bits of, like, keys and drums and stuff like that too. Is that stuff that you're playing also on some of it, or?
Yeah, so my first album, I produced everything, wrote all the music and played all the instruments on, and mixed everything. And I really didn't know anything about mixing or audio until I entered the program. And yeah, so that album was before I started learning about audio. But yeah, it was all done by myself.
No, it's really cool, because I think the first song of yours I had heard was Hypothetical, which was the single you put out last year. And I saw that Duncan Burnett did some production on that.
Yeah, Hypothetical is guitar, that's me, vocals is me, and Duncan Barnett went and put some percussion on it. Yeah, so that was cool. A really cool collab.
No, yeah. But it is cool to know that the whole first album, which was called Bad Intuition.
Bad Intuition.
Sorry. No, it is cool to know that was, like, really all you, because, like, I wasn't sure if, like, you had worked with someone else on that, but, like, it like, after hearing Hypothetical first, I'm like, oh, is Duncan just kind of running with the sound that you had already kind of crafted beforehand and kind of just worked on it and refined it a little bit?
It was a pure collab, and it was just honestly, it was kind of a first time collab, because before that I hadn't really worked with anybody really, and so it was kind of an experiment. Yeah,
what was the kind of the process of, like, figuring out the sound for the first album, though? Like, how you wanted, like, these kind of, like, acoustic guitar loops and all these, like, how you wanted the production and everything? Like, what kind of inspired some of that, or, like, what was the process of finding that sound that you wanted there?
I was really just experimenting with it and trying to get it to sound the least cheesy I could with what I had, because I didn't have any plugins. I was just using Logic and MIDI keyboard and an acoustic guitar. And so I was like, okay, what can I use that sounds the least cheesy? And then put it all together. And so I kind of got this, a lot of people will say, like, Bad Intuition sounds like a 90s kind of vibe. And so that's kind of how I got that, is by using like the kind of 90s thing and crafting that. Like, okay, I can go with that vibe.
What, like, is the some of the production on that, besides from the guitar, is some of that like electronic instruments and stuff, or did you kind of end up using like, did you find like what was the rest of the instrumentation like on the album?
So for the most part, it was MIDI keyboard. Like I would use my keyboard to lay piano, and then I would go back and put like sound effects like strings, pads, and then I would add my guitar. And then sometimes I'll just put like an octave effect on my guitar for bass, or I'll use keys, and then I'll do drums. Sometimes I'll snap and then compress it, or do something else to change the sound to create something else.
Oh, yeah, and I kind of meant to ask before we got into album stuff, like you said you've been singing like your whole life, so like what were like those first moments? Like, was it like you're like doing it with your family, or like did you have like friends growing up that kind of pushed you to be singing more? And
So my family is really musical, and so we would sing Disney songs in the car. Any musical you can think of, any kids Disney cartoon, not kids because Disney is for everybody, but any cartoon you can think of that had a song, we were singing that, like, yeah, and then singing in church, singing a lot of music in choir, musical theater, and then I sang in a cappella vocal jazz group for a little bit, and yeah, started writing my own music.
oh yeah, and I think it is cool that you have like these kind of early musical influences and like just stuff you enjoyed growing up that you have like kind of embraced to an extent, because like a lot of like maybe like a lot of rock musicians or like rappers and stuff would be like, oh man, I went to church as a kid, I hated that music, like Disney, it's dumb kids music, like I don't want to do anything like that. But I think probably like that'll pop up in like the melodies and stuff that you're working on, and you get to use it in like a cool way.
Of course. Yeah, definitely.
What were like some of the like the theater, like the musical theater stuff that you were into and like working on that you mentioned?
So I've performed musicals like Dreamgirls. I performed in Dreamgirls. Once on This Island. The Heights, Washington Heights. It's a really cool musical, and all the music is really good. I've done a lot of musical theater stuff.
Is that something you continue to do, or?
It's something I am always open to because like I had so much fun doing it, and just meeting people and getting to play with these characters, and like, okay, now I can be this person, now I can act like this, which you can't really do that in daily life without being looked at as a weirdo, which I mean, every now and then I'll do it, but yeah.
Was that all stuff you were doing like during school, or is that kind of independent like theater stuff? Or?
So that was mostly during school. I was doing that, and then I started writing more, and then I kind of jumped into performing. So yeah,
It's kind of been the main outlet over the last few years.
yeah, yep.
What was that vocal group like that you mentioned too? Like it was like a vocal jazz thing?
Yeah, so that was at KCC. I performed in the vocal jazz group, and it was just eye-opening because we would have to sit there and harmonize with each other and all have the same vowels. And just when you harmonize with someone, there's like a connection that you have to have. Like, just it was like a little family basically, and it really helped me grow a lot as an artist, especially when you listen to some of my music off my first album, which is around the same time I was in that group. There's a lot of harmonies and stuff like that, and so I definitely draw on that.
And did you have like kind of any formal training in like kind of music, like performance and writing and stuff like in school or anything, or did it all kind of start with like just your formal, like informal stuff or in the theater stuff?
I had writing. I didn't really have anyone guiding me for writing my own music, but I was just really active in school, choir. Like I lived in the choir room and I lived in the band room. In high school, I sang in choir and I played in jazz band and I played in marching band, and I was just like a theater kid and marching band kid.
Oh yeah, just taking any chance you got to.
Yeah.
What instrument were you doing in like the school band and stuff?
So I played clarinet.
Oh, yeah?
So I was Squidward for a little bit. and and then I played piano in jazz band. So it was really fun. And yeah, times like that, like you don't appreciate it as much whenever you're doing it, but then when you look back like, oh wow, that really helped me grow and develop into what I am right now, you really do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I think there's the stress of any like high school day can kind of like distract you from like really kind of enjoying and embracing some of the more creative stuff you get to do then probably.
Yeah, definitely.
And have you figured out any way to incorporate the clarinet or anything like that into your work? Like, did you end up like, because clarinet goes into saxophone at some point, right?
I stopped playing clarinet after high school. I stopped playing clarinet. So.
Just gotta lock that away. Maybe at some point we'll hear some of that. But no, yeah, and I was also kind of curious, like where you drew inspiration from, like with the amount of harmonies that you incorporate into your music, because like, you know, seems like every other song there's like some really crazy harmony work going into it, and it is like all you with like multiple tracks, right?
So my process whenever I'm recording is I just keep hitting record and then keep getting takes. And this is also a part of why it takes me so long to finish a song. Like I'll just keep adding layers, and then even if it's a cough but it sounds cool and it's on a certain rhythm, I'll keep that. And so that's my process whenever I'm recording harmonies. My inspirations when it comes to where I kind of drew from for that would be D'Angelo, because a lot of his music is just rich in harmony, and sometimes you can't even tell what is the main, like what the main vocal is.
Yeah.
Like you just hear like a choir kind of.
Yeah, it's just like a whole sea of D'Angelo happening.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's just a great performer too, like in any aspect.
Yeah.
So, what were some of like, so, you know, your sound kind of ends up somewhere between like R&B and soul and that kind of thing. So what are some of like your main kind of like, you know, just favorite artists of those genres, or like anyone that you've kind of drawn inspiration from at some point?
I would definitely say D'Angelo has a huge impact on me, my sound, and just my development, even if it's not like even if you can't hear D'Angelo in my music, I would say just my development. And Lauryn Hill is a big one. Indie I listened to a lot of that growing up. Music Soul Child. Anything that's neo soul has a really deep impact on me.
No, and I'm sure like maybe like, I don't know, I think it is a cool thing with your music because like it does have like kind of the bedroom musician quality to it, because you are like you're playing everything on your songs, and it has like these multiple track vocals, and it is really pretty, but it also has these kind of like kind of more, I don't know, kind of hearty qualities of like a lot of the big like kind of 90s artists. So I can see like someone who's like 20 but also someone who's like 35 or 40 like being really into like some of your stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yep.
But I wanted to talk a little bit also about some of the themes on Bad Intuition, because I don't know, that it is like a lot of like love and heartbreak and that kind of thing to an extent, but I don't know, but you do choose to end it with the song "Happy Ending,"
Yeah.
which is like kind of a redeeming, like there's good and bad to everything, like type of song.
Yeah.
So like, what made you want to like end things on a positive note and like kind of tie everything in like that?
Seeing as I started off the album with Bad Intro, which was like complete contrast, I just kind of wanted to end it in an elevated mood. Yeah.
And would you say that like kind of the yin yang thing like is it kind of a continued like thing that you feel, or like was that kind of more of a picture of where you were like when you were writing it?
It's definitely a picture of where I was when I was writing it. Sorry. But it's also a reoccurring theme in my life and just in life in general, the ups and downs, and being able to understand that so that you can balance yourself out, and not just within music, but in mental health or anything that you can grow in, throughout this lifetime. It's just ups and downs, like entrepreneurship or just being an artist or having your own business, or being a creative and experimentation, just understanding that, okay, I'm up high, but let me appreciate this moment,
Yeah.
Whether it's low or high.
Oh yeah, and I think that is like and there's also like this very like kind of introspective quality to the music too, and I think that's like, I'm sure there's like I think there's too many people who are a little too worried about, like appearances and whatever, so just to have like this album that's kind of a product of like kind of this, yeah, just introvertedness and kind of introspection and stuff is like kind of a cool thing to look at as a whole. But
Yeah.
and I also kind of noticed on the album there is like, I think the rain is something that kind of like, there is the song Rain, but there's also like one or two moments like on the last song, but maybe once before that too, there is like the sound of rain that gets played on there. I was wondering like what importance that had.
Just dramatic. I was being dramatic, honestly. To be honest, a lot of the things I do are just theatrical. I feel like that's a part of me being a person who was in theater, is like, even like some of the chords in the music that I'm releasing soon, you'll notice like just like the quality of the chords are really either really dissonant to draw emotion, or just juicing everything I can that I have a creative handle on to get people to feel emotion. Like, that's my way of being theatrical. And so with Rain, I figured, if I put a rain track in the beginning, maybe it'll kind of set the mood for what I'm about to sing about.
Oh yeah, and I think it does kind of add that theatrical quality to it. And
Yeah.
like, is there anything like on your newer work that kind of compares to that? Like, are there any other like kind of mood setting moments that you can really think of?
No. I don't want to say too much because I just wanted to like be there, and then I would say it's more just happening, like it's just more in your face, like, okay, this is the mood, here we go, let's go.
Oh yeah. And so the latest song that you put out back in October, I think, was called Friend. That was your latest single. I guess just tell me as much about that one as you can.
What would you like to know about it?
I don't know, just kind of the writing process and the production, and just kind of where the inspiration comes from.
Yeah, so I was sitting in my living room and I was strumming my guitar, and I came up with like the bass line for it, and words came to my mind for it, and I recorded it on my phone. And then later on, I went to the studio and recorded it and mixed it, and yeah, and then added all the different elements of production for it. And so when I was writing it, it just came really, really natural. Like I wrote it, I think it might have taken me like 2 or 3 hours because I recorded it on my phone, like with a video. Because I hate using voice memos sometimes. I'll just do a video. And so I recorded it on my phone with the video, and I have like 2 takes. And so I think the second one is what I used. And I wasn't really writing it from an experience at the moment, but then later on I felt like I could relate to it. And so that's what really made it real. And the song isn't about one specific thing. It's just about, I don't know, overall it's about recognition of self-worth, like knowing what you're worth. It's about people who have friendships that might not be equal on both sides. It's about balancing that out. It's about karma. And it's also about being kind enough to let that slide sometimes, because you're the person that's supposed to touch their heart to help them be better, maybe. So it's about a lot of things. Because there's a lyric in there that's like, it's like, truthfully, honestly, you should know that I'm the one who sticks around when the going gets tough. When you're up against the wall, don't know who to call on. And that to me, it's like you're saying you're that person that's always there. You're not rubbing it in their face, but you're telling them, oh, I'm that person that's usually there for you. And then it goes on to say how that person did them wrong, or has this undertone of, oh, then this person did me dirty. But at the end, you're like, I'm going to keep it grounded, keep it moving, and try to be kind. And then there's like this little background vocals that's like, be kind to get by. But that's like the little shady part of, like everybody has this little voice in their head that's telling them to do the bad thing. Like, okay, I'm going to be kind to get by, but I'm going to get you back later. So that's like the other voice in the background in my head, kind of. But at the same time, that voice is saying be kind to get by, because you're being kind to get by to survive. You're keeping your karma good. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're being kind for your own benefit. So,
yeah. So hopefully it inspires a little.
I hope I
know.
explained that right.
No, yeah.
Did I? I mean, I guess I did, because it's my art. I can explain it however I want to.
Yeah, so hopefully it inspires some goodwill in some friendships out there at some point.
Yeah.
But there will be maybe that voice that wants you to do the petty thing or whatever. Be a jerk about it. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta grin and bear it.
Grin and bear it.
But yeah. So you released your last album in 2016. Is that right?
I think so.
So no, yeah, and you mentioned like it does take you a bit to like kind of put all of your songs together. Like what do you think has changed the most in like your writing and maybe even just like your life since you put out the last album?
I would say it doesn't really take me a long time to write. I can write really, really fast, and even sometimes when I perform, there's a song called Pizza Toppings on my SoundCloud where I'm just like freestyling a song with the audience, and they give me like random words and I make up a song. And so writing is not really an issue for me. I feel like mostly I just kind of wanted to just like live my life, to have experiences. Like, I don't know, I was just like living my life and developing my craft to become a better guitarist or better writer, or so I'm sorry, what was your question?
Oh yeah, like just kind of what like what's changed, or like how have you grown in like your songwriting and your production and everything since you released the last album?
I've definitely grown a lot with my playing as a guitarist, and my approach to writing has changed.
Oh yeah, and I think, I don't know, like I kind of understand it to a certain extent when like someone's like a huge like famous artist and like they are kind of starting to get into like kind of album cycles and stuff. But yeah, like I think a lot of younger people do, like, for like not much reason, like rush to put out as much music as they can, and like without like really taking time to like try to hone their craft and grow. So I think, yeah, people like, if there's like some local artist with like 20 comments like, oh, you need to drop this song, we need a new mixtape or whatever, like I think that can be kind of like silly and pointless sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see people take their time at least in the beginning. But yeah, you do a bit of visual art also, right? You do some like painting and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
How long have you been painting?
I've been doing that since 2015. I've been painting. I don't really have a giant collection of art, so I'm not really pushing it as a thing yet, but definitely in the future it'd be cool.
What made you want to pick it up?
Just for fun.
Oh yeah, that's as good a reason as any.
That's kind of the reason why I do anything is for fun, or enjoyment or mental health.
Do you see yourself incorporating like your painting or anything like that into your like kind of musical act at some point, like just like doing the art for your songs and stuff?
Definitely. So my next project is called Love Art Growth, and it's kind of an incorporation of everything that I have been experiencing and just all the different ways I've been expressing myself.
Oh yeah, what else can you say about the next album? Or it's not like complete yet. You're not like
I don't really want to start promotion on it because I like to feel free whenever I'm doing something. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and what else do we have here? Okay, and you do you like your Instagram bio says Texas, Austin, Texas too. Do you go down to perform sometimes, or do you stay there sometimes?
Yeah. Austin is a really cool place. I love it there. I love it.
So you just kind of pop down as much as you can. And
yeah, I'm actually going there for South by Southwest.
Oh, nice.
Next week.
What do you have planned down there?
So I'm playing at Mid-Coast Takeover.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Midwest Music Foundation is doing Mid-Coast Takeover, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm hyped that I even get to, be a part of that. And then I'm doing a day party, and that'll be the 14th. So if you're in Austin, Sahara Lounge is where it will be. Yo. And then I'm doing some stuff during South by Southwest. Working for South by Southwest.
Nice.
And that'll be exciting.
What are you working on there?
So I'm like helping run sound for
nice.
one of the shows. So yeah, and then I'm going to like network and stuff like that and just be a part of it because I've never actually attended the festival to, soak up information and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, I think that's a good way of like going to a festival, because like I think some people will book like one showcase slot and go down just for that, and I'm like that's fine and fun and everything, but like to go down for like one like 20-minute set or something, you're like I think that'll probably be nice to have like the sound work and all the other stuff you're doing while you're down there too, in addition to the 2 sets you're playing. Awesome. Oh, and I guess if anyone is listening the day this comes out, this will be out Friday, and you're playing Revolution Records tonight with Cowgirl Jordy and Josiah Hamilton. So that'll be a fun show. That starts, doors open at 8. but you're welcome to come hang out before that and shop and everything. But yeah, is there anything else that people should know about or look out for?
Come to the show.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, where can people find your music?
Oh, you can find my music on Spotify, Apple Music, any streaming outlet. Search Ivy Roots, Instagram, Twitter, all that, at Ivy Roots Music.
Awesome. And people can follow at Shuttlecock Mag on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can visit shuttlecockmusic.com for all the articles and everything. And there's shuttlecockmag.bigcartel.com for T-shirts, photozines, and buttons that we have that you can order. And look out on the website and the Facebook page for all of the shows we're hosting coming up. Oh, yes, you can get one of the buttons that Ivy is graciously modeling here. If you're watching the video. If you're listening, sorry, there's a cool button that you can't see. But yeah, I appreciate you being on the show today.
I appreciate you.
Back to ASMR.
Thanks for having me.